connect you on Zoom. And let's see, meeting is now streaming live on Facebook. Okay, we did it. That was much easier than yesterday's with Courtney.
Technology.
It was a lot of, we actually just had to switch the platform altogether. But hello, everyone. It's good evening here on Saturday night on the East Coast. And what time is it there for you?
It's 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, on Saturday. On
Sunday.
On Sunday.
Yeah.
This is Aleksandra. She is in Australia. And yeah, we were just discussing before. Well, first I got to see the handsome little dude. I never got to meet him. I just saw pictures, I think, on the New Mama group, right? So he's heading off for a nap. So you guys don't get to see him, but he's chunky and sweet and cute and cuddly. Yeah. And we were just chatting about, I met you at the age of 36, but you had already been trying for 2 years before you found your way to be into the group. So yeah, why don't you just share what feels right to share, and we'll just go from there. How about that?
Okay. So I first felt pregnant. I was 34 and a bit, and I felt pregnant really easily. We decided to start trying for a baby. My husband and I have been together for a long time, and we traveled and done all those things, career, and the time felt right to start a family, and felt pregnant quickly. And then on Christmas Day, sadly, I lost that pregnancy. So that was a bit, that was really difficult, it being that time of the year as well. But, you know, going to emergency, and everyone just kind of looking at me as if to say, there's not really anything we can do. And they sent me home, and, you know, when it started, it was like a mini labor, and I just put myself in the bath and just went through the whole process. And my husband was there with me through the whole thing and held my hand. And looking back on it now, there was a beauty in it that we went through it together. And you know, maybe going through it naturally, it was a closure process for me as well. And then he asked me, you know, how do you feel about, how long do you want to wait? Are you happy to try again? And I was ready. I thought it's just one of those things. It happens. I did ask my doctors at the time, you know, is there anything we can do? Something, I don't know if this is just bad luck. I think it could be something more. Can we do any testing? And they said, no, this is just, you know, it just happens. It's pretty normal. It happens a lot. It's just bad luck. And we started trying again the very next cycle, and I felt pregnant again straight away. There was no gap in between, as you will. And sadly, I lost that pregnancy as well, and that was Easter. And then that one.
How many weeks were each of those losses? They were like
there were
7, 6?
Early, 7 weeks. Yeah, with the second pregnancy, because I'd already had the first loss, I asked for an early scan, so we got to see the heartbeat and everything, and you get, you know, a bit more invested in it. You hope that this will work. And then I went back at 8 weeks, and they said that the baby had stopped at 7. And yeah, so that, you know, being in that room and not hearing the heartbeat, and just there's just no words of how devastating that feels. And that loss took a long time to resolve. I bled for, you know, 3 months on and off, and the doctors, and I would stop for a while, for a week or two, and then it would come back, and eventually they took another scan, and, you know, had to clear everything out. My body didn't release the pregnancy. It wasn't complete. And then I took time to try and get my head together. We took a really long break. I worked with a naturopath, and that's the funny thing, you know, I'm a nutritional consultant and a lifestyle coach, and I still wanted extra help. I thought, well, an expert still needs an expert. So I sought out this naturopath and to put me on all these supplements and things. And I took them, and I felt a little bit better on them, but it got to a point where it was actually stressing me out because I had to take things at certain times, and I can't take this supplement with that one, and it just got too much. And I was also still working a lot, burning the candle at both ends. And I just thought, no, I'm just going to stop. I'm just going to take a sabbatical, and I'm just going to stop working. I'm going to stop these supplements, and I'm just going to take a break. And so I did, and we took a little 5-day vacation, and I felt pregnant again. And I woke up on Christmas Day that time, and I said to my husband, I think I'm pregnant. And we waited, and on New Year's Day 2018, I found out I was pregnant again. And that was the third pregnancy. And I thought, third time's the charm. This is going to work. And it didn't, sadly. And had to have a D&C with that one. It was a little bit further along, and it just my body just wasn't releasing. I was having such a hard time with all the pregnancies. It's like I just wanted to be pregnant so badly. My body just wanted to hold on to this baby so much, and even when it didn't work, it just didn't want to let go. But that pregnancy, it just broke me down. I just went into a hole. I didn't want to see anyone. I didn't want to speak to anyone. I just found it really hard to dig myself out of that one. But going back in time, after my second pregnancy, I was at the library, and I was looking, I started to look for answers because I felt something wasn't quite right. My diet was really good. I was healthy, I was exercising, all those things that you look to, that everything was fine. And all my lab work came back. Yeah. Nothing was wrong with me. I was perfectly healthy, and I should be able to fall pregnant and carry a pregnancy without a problem. And I was going through the books in the library, and your book was just there, and it just jumped out at me, and got it home. I read it in the weekend, and I just kept borrowing it out. I just kept taking it out of the library. And at one point, the lady said, if anyone else requests this book, we're going to have to call you up and get it back from you. And so after the third pregnancy loss, I was like, you know what? I need to get that book. I need to get my own copy. And I went on your website, and you were releasing Body Belief at the same time.
Oh, right.
I got both of those books on Amazon, and it was hard for me. Like, I listened to some of your YouTube clips about being worthy of everything that you desire, and that was really difficult for me to accept. And I remember the very first time I listened to you talk about it, I cried. And in that video, you said, repeat after me, you're worthy of everything you desire. And I couldn't speak the words. And I kept watching, I just watched it over and over again until I could say those words to myself. But it was that mental component. I realized that that's what I was missing, that support. I was on this journey on my own. I was embarrassed. I felt so much shame that I couldn't make it work. I was there helping other people, be healthy and do all these things, and somehow I was failing at it. And I lost all confidence in what I do, and I felt really broken. And because I was so ashamed, it took me a long time. I kept coming back to your website, and I kept getting these emails from you every so often. It's like, are you ready to, kickstart your fertility? And are you ready to optimize your fertility? And all this sort of stuff. And you kept speaking to me. And I really believe in signs, and, in the universe, there's always things guiding you. And eventually I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this. She's opened the doors to the e-course. I'm going to go for it. And the day I did, I just felt so much weight lift off my shoulders. I remember that day so clearly. And I looked at my husband and I said, I feel so much better now. I've signed up. Everything's going to change. And it did. Being part of this group has just been, it's priceless. I'm not alone ever. this group, there's just so much, there is so much heartache in the group, but it's a happy place.
Yeah.
It's where I go to recharge. It's where I go to get that, to fill up my cup, as it were. Everyone understands you. There's no judgment. I've met so many wonderful ladies, and Laura, Courtney, heroes. They just lifted me up, and they knew what I was going through, and we were all there for each other. And there's so many other women in the group. There's one, I know you're watching, and you have my heart. I couldn't have done this without you. So it's a game changer. Anyone thinking about whether they should do it or not, I know it's a financial thing that you have to consider, but if you're on this journey, you've probably spent a lot of money anyway, going to see all these specialists and doctors. And if you're doing IVF and IUIs, make it happen. It's something that you won't regret doing. And because I was in the group when I felt pregnant for the 4th time, I was already working with you. It was still difficult, but somehow it was easier. I had more faith. Just before I fell pregnant for the 4th time, I was in that really good space. You keep saying, trust the timing of your life. And I did. I repeated those mantras. I did the meditations. I'd go for a walk and I would imagine myself being pregnant. And some people might think that, why would you do that to yourself? That's just torture. But it wasn't, because feeling pregnant to me made me feel happy. I would walk down the street and I had the biggest grin on my face, and people would be looking at me funny. And I would just sit there and I would daydream about what it would be like. And so the 4th loss was difficult, but it was easier because I had the support group. I had a tribe of women behind me, and I'm a really private person, and if someone out there is private, it doesn't matter. Just join anyway. You can be quiet.
Yeah.
Just come on and just listen to everyone else ask questions and get their answers. But just be there. You'll feel supported anyway.
Well, even think about that private person, and yet, so willing to come on and share because of, I think, what you went through and the transformations and the support that you received,
Well, yeah, I kind of think, I was given this mountain.
Yes.
And I want to show other people that they can climb it. You can get to the other side. And, eventually I did find this great doctor who thought a bit outside the box. He's a little bit like Dr. Braverman. What I had available in Australia was not exactly what you have available in the US. So my protocols were a little bit different, but, it took time to accept that I needed
the additional support. That was what we did, 2 coaching sessions, I think, right? And I think the majority of the coaching sessions were about, if I could sum it up, and you definitely correct me, was like getting you into this space of being able to receive the help, because it was like, I want to do this on my own. There was this bit of, I'm the same way, like a little stubborn. We're similar. But I did think, like, we took a while to find that doctor, and then to get and take in his support and his feedback. And even still, it was a little push and pull with some things, if I remember. But, you had the girls, and you had, what was cool too, and I see this a lot in the group, and you can speak to it, is because there's so many girls going through and so many different types, like Aleksandra, I think because of the losses for certain, falls into more of that autoimmune category where something else is going on. This is not egg quality issues. This is, beyond that. And so she needed an autoimmune fertility specialist or fertility reproductive immunologist, basically. But she was able to actually then say, like, this is how, and he knew of Dr. Braverman, right? If I remember correctly.
Yeah,
but it was like, this is the protocol that these girls are on. Can we do something similar? You know, it was that kind of thing. And she had this information and very, you know, legitimate information from what women were doing in, you know, mainly in the States, I think, that, you know, we're able to show him. And yeah, and I think that, and the support. And then, I mean, we made some tweaks, but like she said, you know, you came into it. I mean, if I have your initial paperwork, and her diet was like spectacular, like steamed zucchini, rocket and salmon, olive oil, lemon dressing, avocado with collagen peptides, lemon dressing, steamed rocket and asparagus, steamed pumpkin with garlic. I mean, she eats better than I eat for certain. Sausage, asparagus, bone broth, half a banana, strawberries with coconut oil. So, you know, and all organic, and, you know, I think no caffeine, no alcohol, right? You know, and I'm trying to remember too, supplements that you were on at that point, but we've put you on the basics, if I remember. But what was interesting too is you still had, like, as clean as you ate, all these red flags. So
Absolutely.
You guys have heard me talk about the red flag symptom list. We have a checklist. If anybody wants access to it, just message us and we'll get it to you. But it's in body belief as well. And so whenever I see that, like, super clean, she's getting pregnant right away. And then I see, like, you guys can't totally see, but like all these little checks, something else is going on. Like, her body is still not happy. With how like solid and clean she was, her body was still not happy. And so some of that was, you know, obviously with the losses, it was like the emotional inflammation was there for certain. But, you know, I remember there was all my recommendations up in the top corner of like our first call. But yeah, and her clotting factor and MTHFR were all negative, by the way, too. So that was the other interesting thing. She did not, your homocysteine was slightly high. You had no clotting factors, no MTHFR, which is not what I see usually, right? Usually for losses, they have one of those things, and clotting factors, there's like 18 different ones. But when he tested you, he found natural killer cells high. I can't remember.
Yeah, the natural killer cells were elevated, and basically my husband and I were a little bit too similar. There's a the
HLA, yeah.
Yes, the HLAs. And so my body was not recognizing, or it wasn't protecting the pregnancies.
Yes.
So that's where the medication came in.
System, basically.
Yeah, the immune system was too strong each time. And with the fourth pregnancy, I was already working with him, but the protocol wasn't aggressive enough. My immune system was just too strong. So, you know, with the next pregnancy, I spoke with him and he said, look, let's just do everything that we can.
And that was the IVIG, I think the big game changer. Remember that day too? Like, that's the other power of the group. So she's like back and forth. Should I do this IVIG? Should I not? It was expensive. There was, you know, it was just another added expense that they didn't want to have to spend if they didn't need to. And Kathy, one of our other girls who we're going to go live with tomorrow, like, Aleksandra posted in the group, I'm getting the chills. And I remember Kathy posted like a research article, right? And I was like, I think I brought it to your attention, like maybe the same moment you thought, because the time change. And I was like, and the IVIG article showed that, because to explain what was going on. So she's in her 5th pregnancy now, and tell them everything that went down for that one.
And I had my HCG drawn. It was fantastic. The progesterone was great. The second draw was still good, and then the third one, because normally they only do 2, and if it doubles, then everything's good. There's no need to keep going. But I wanted to keep going. I said, I want to keep going. I want to make sure that everything's going great. Yeah. And it didn't. It should have, doubled. So let's just say it was 50. It should have been 100, and mine was 70. Like, it was just like in the middle. And I got a phone call from them, and they said, it doesn't look good, and prepare yourself for another loss. And
I remember our email exchange too. I was.
I was just like, this can't be.
Mm-mm.
I took a shower and I cried like I've never cried before. And then I thought, I'm not giving up until it's over. I can't give up. And went on in the little group, I posted, and I got Laura just stood by me as if she was in the room next to me, and we messaged each other, and I was just like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And this is what I'm doing at the moment. And, we discussed it. I messaged my doctor, and in the end, it was just like, let's just up the meds. There's nothing to lose. If it's going to go one way, it will go anyway. And I just wanted to make sure that I did everything that I possibly could. And I meditated the hell out of myself, basically. I just listened to your meditation. Sometimes it was just on repeat the whole day. It was the only thing that kept me from crying, from going down that rabbit hole. I had to keep my cortisol levels in check. Anything that would stress me out would be negative, would be something that wasn't really healthy. And it worked. And the HCG went back up. I had a scan at 6 weeks, and there was a heartbeat, and I held my breath. And we had weekly scans up until, I think it was 15 weeks. It was really touch and go. I bled twice. I had spotting at 13 and 14 weeks, and I thought that was it again. And I went in, and they couldn't find the root. There was nothing. The baby was perfectly healthy. But each time I went in, I was waiting for the other shoe to drop. And that's where the support came in. I just felt the ladies were with me. I would just go in there and I would just breathe, and I would center myself, and especially during this, pandemic time as well, being pregnant during this time, I couldn't have anyone come with me. They stopped my husband being there. So I would have to go into these appointments on my own as well. And that was difficult. So just knowing that they were there for me and that I could update them on how things were going, that was, I just can't put words on that. That was incredible. And, the specialist, I know I shared it with the group, he didn't think we'd make it to 25 weeks. So the whole pregnancy, I was just kind of tittering. And I think once you've had one loss or more, your next pregnancy will never be without worry, without that, it won't be the way you've always dreamt it would be. It will be tough, and you'll worry, and you'll be scared that it won't work out. And my gynecologist thought we wouldn't get to 32 weeks. And, and he was born at 39. So we sort of showed everyone that it could work. But, he's a little miracle, my baby boy. And he just held on. Yeah, he's a little warrior. There's something else, I think there's an extra little bit of magic that needs to happen. I think this whole journey made me reconnect back to myself, the body belief especially. I had to trust my own body again, that it could do this. You start, I always believed that I would have my baby, but after so many losses, you begin to doubt yourself. You begin to wonder if this is ever going to happen. And I just had to get to that point where I had to realign myself spiritually and also enjoy my life again. I think, it's really easy to get fixated on this one thing, and you forget everything else that is around you. You forget your other relationships, and, it's not healthy.
You lose yourself. How do you not? It's so tough. It's so tough.
Yeah.
But you made it through. And in that group, I want to find the email exchange when your second beta 480. And then it's Thursday, had another baby. We were hoping for 960, but I got 950. Doctor said it's still rising. I'm taking prednisone, progesterone, intralipid scheduled for Saturday. Another HCG showed a slow rise, but hopefully receiving immune panel results tomorrow and hear from the doctor. And let's see. They went from 950 to 1500. That's what it was in 4 days. So it didn't look great. You're so right.
No.
And I said, that makes no sense. What are they seeing on the ultrasound? And you hadn't had one yet. But I had so much faith this time it would work. My baby's totem kept showing up. I saw baby bunny and another baby bunny.
Yeah, that's the thing,
Yeah.
I think my baby was communicating to me way before I even read the Spirit Babies that you recommended. And after I read the book, I was like, this is my baby communicating with me. And every time I went for those infusions, which I ended up having 4 or 5 intralipids and 4 IVIGs.
Yep.
Which is
that was the IVIG. I felt like was the right.
Yeah, that really helped.
And then so it goes 489. This is the beta. 480, 950, 1500, 2520, and then 4820. Up to the prednisone herself. But again, you got the support of the group. These girls are on 20 to 40 milligrams. Like, it felt safe to do it. I remember being like, go for it. Because you hadn't heard from the doctor, and the time was so of the essence. And then
it was a Friday, and I wouldn't hear from him until Monday, and it was just that weekend time. And what do you do? Yeah. And
then I just remember the IVIG article. Yeah, I sent you this email. I just read the article that Kathy shared. Now it makes sense. Now it makes me feel like if you can do the IVIG. With that, I think the numbers are looking really good and promising. And then you went ahead and, anyway, that was Friday, October 18th. And then let's see. Then on October 24th, baby measuring spot on, week 6 plus 6 weeks in 1 day, heartbeat 122. It's the best, I know. And then that was kind of it. And then, I mean, not kind of it, but like October 31st, I want to let you know we're still going well here. I had another scan yesterday after some cramping, which I'm sure freaked you out. We decided to go ahead with the IVIG. That was last Saturday. And then, and your doctor said, when I voiced my concern that it took 10 days to finally run the first surface markers test to see my immune markers, and that possibly this had the impact of HCG slowing down, the response was, well, it's like deciding whether to have tea or coffee, much the same thing. Do you remember that? That was it too. Like, look at that. I mean, had you been alone, I don't know that, you know what I mean? Like, I think the support of the group really, was so, and just your confidence and knowing like, no, this is how a doctor should respond. And this is what I should get. And this is, this is how other doctors have handled it. Like, you had so much confidence and knowledge, and then obviously like, you have Laura there, our head TA, she knows my protocol better than I do. I know you're watching. And I write back to you. I said, as for the doctor, I think you just have to continue to be your own advocate and firmly ask for what you need. If the opportunity arises for a non-heated, emotionally safe conversation, you can say something like, I understand. I remember I walked you through it. I was like, this is what you're going to say. Because she also, that was a part of your healing too, which is something we worked on in one of our calls where we had to write the letter, remember, to the doctors. When you went to another doctor and they started doing more tests, they made a comment like, oh, a lot of these tests hadn't been done. And there was so much anger and rage in you because it was like, would you let me go through this many losses and you didn't fucking check everything? Like what, And so had you write a letter to the doctors, and then we also did a visualization about when you're going to send the birth announcement card, oh, and by the way, here he
absolutely. I mean, it's just crazy. I was really angry that women have to go through this many times before anyone takes you seriously or does any more further testing. I mean, and why should we have to have 3 pregnancy losses before any, it was really difficult. And, I was thinking about it the other day. I mean, up to total, to bring my baby home, I've seen 17 health specialists, and it's crazy. And at one point I was like, is it me? I'm walking through all these doctors, they must think I'm crazy, I'm this hypochondriac, that's a bit cuckoo. But then I got to the point and I thought, they're there for me. They're giving, I'm paying them for a service. And if they're not aligning with me, if they don't believe in me, if they're, if I'm sitting there and they're saying there's nothing wrong with you, but you need to do IVF, and I'm saying, how is that going to help?
Yeah.
I'm falling pregnant easily, but I can't hold on to a pregnancy. How is IVF going to help me? And they don't have an answer, then something's not right there. And I would have an appointment and I would never go back, because what's the point? So that was also lonely and frustrating, to just keep searching and keep digging and keep looking for, and even with acupuncturists, sometimes, ladies will come in the group and go, oh, this didn't feel right, or they said this. It's like, don't worry about it. Just go to another one. Just keep going until you find that person that gets you, that, understands.
That has your back and that believes in you, right? Because I do think too, energetically, right? It's just so important that, like we're all holding the same space, it's like, you don't have to have a fertility doctor that necessarily believes you can improve egg quality, right? Or, that necessarily believes you can't do it without the meds or something like that. But just that believes in you and believes that, is going to support you in looking under every rock. And
absolutely.
And it's maddening, though, to continue to not receive the proper care, and especially when it comes to running blood work. Some of it's pretty simple, you know what I mean, and not that hard to address or treat. And there's data out there, and also I think too, from a doctor's standpoint, like if it's not your area of expertise, then refer her out. You know what I mean? Like if there's an RE that isn't experienced in immunology or habitual, the habitual miscarriages, then refer her out. Refer her out. She's not for you. And
you have to get to a point where you pick and choose. I think you said that to me. Just find the person that's going to align and help you in this area. They might not be able to do everything, but like the immunologist, he might not have a great bedside manner, but if he knows, this bit, just take that bit from him and go to someone else for this bit, and come to the group for the emotional.
Come to the group for everything else, and then come to the group to like actually go over all of it, right? I mean, that's really what we did, and I feel like I do. I mean, I think about that pregnancy, and just like. I feel like the way everybody came together to basically just support you through that, like that hiccup, that really happened. And it was like, and you got over the hump.
Yep.
And you brought him home. It was amazing.
And, I just, I walk around the house going, oh my gosh, I have a baby, I'm a mum, and it feels foreign still after so long. Waiting on something. I mean, I'm loving it, I'm enjoying it, but there's still a healing that has to. Yes. I'm still healing from it all, and what I've learned through the e-course is it'll guide me through the rest of my life now. I still use that art program of acknowledge, reframe, transform, like the whole time. Every time I doubt myself now as a new mum, I'm like, hang on a minute, what would Aimee say? My son probably knows your voice as good as he knows mine, because I listen to you so much.
He did give me a couple of nice smiles. He really did.
With my big belly, and your voice would just be playing through, and it just made me calm. And he's such a happy baby, and he's a delight. And I think that has a lot to do with the way you feel,
the environment in which you grew him.
Yeah, and that's what you always say. That conversation you have in your own mind, that's probably the most important conversation you're going to have every day when you speak to yourself, because it affects how you feel, and then how you feel affects what you do and what you eat and how you sleep, and then that affects your health, and then that all affects your fertility, and it's everything. It's not just waist down, there's the diet side, but then there's the mental, emotional component, and everyone's a bit different. And something, I think that's what the e-course is really good. It addresses everything holistically. And for me, the most difficult thing was the emotional and mental component. Someone else might struggle with the dietary changes, but for me, it was that mental, emotional component, and it wasn't just healing from the losses. It was, once you start to unpack things, you then really start to unpack, and that suitcase opens, and
it ain't the best.
And you dig stuff out, and that's important, because I think your cells do have a memory, and they can either be happy or they can be sad. And I've unpacked things from a long time before, and that's had a huge impact on my healing and how my body feels, and also how now
you're gonna mother.
Yeah. Absolutely, and what you say, healing your children's children. In a lot of things, and you know about those things. I'm breaking a cycle, and that was very important for me to do.
And chills. I love that.
I kind of feel, even with every pregnancy, my husband and I said, it's the same baby coming back to us.
Oh, 100%.
It's the same baby.
100%. That's why he's so happy, because he's like, finally, I get to come through.
Yeah. And I want to share something I wrote, because I did so much journaling, and when I did my meditations, I did a lot of free writing as well afterwards, because I would visualize things in my meditation, and then I would just write everything that I saw. But there was one little bit, and I would write to my son, and I said, I know that I can't have you right now, or a week from now, or a month, or maybe even a year, but I know that eventually you will be mine and I will be yours, and that is enough. And that's how I got through, because sometimes ladies come to a group, or they go to a doctor, and they're like, I want it now. I want a fix now. I want my baby. And I know you want your baby, and you should have your baby, but
yes.
Trust in the process, because it will happen. But it takes its own time, and healing comes in waves. And when you start to unpack things with you, in the course with the ladies, sometimes it won't happen all at once, and then you'll heal in stages, and weeks or months might go by, and then something else, and keep going through the course. I mean, like Laura and Courtney, I have gone through that course, the modules over and over and over again, and every time I did it, something else would heal, something else would resonate with me. I would listen to your meditations, and it would sink in deeper and deeper, and eventually, I still grieve for the time that's gone, but I came to a point where I was like, if it isn't meant to be, if it's not going to work out, that's okay, because I have this mothering heart, and I can put it to use in other ways. I've got nieces and nephews, I've got friends, I've animals, flowers, I can mother so much. There's just this whole world out there, and I don't need to be sad. I know I'm waiting for my rainbow, but there's rainbows everywhere around me. And I just have to live my life. And that's when I got to that point last year. I was just, I want to be happy. I want to enjoy my life. I want to go out with my husband. I want to have dinner parties. I want to see my friends. I want to go to the cinema. Just those simple things. And then a few months later, I felt pregnant, and it worked. And there was a lot of things that had to come into that to make it work. I wouldn't have been able to do without the medication. I know that. But I think the healing that I did, and the tweaks that we still made dietary wise, and ironing out those red flags, the medication had space in my body to work.
I agree. I think that's a huge part of it.
I was accepting it. I wasn't pushing it away from me. The
but
more
also,
you push away,
we've seen those cases, and I mean, even the fourth pregnancy, you were on some of those meds, and it wasn't enough, sadly. But I've seen that before. I mean, even Sharon, who went live with me last year, who has baby Jane, and but it was the same. I mean, she had another miscarriage under when she first started working with me. I think it was her fourth as well. I think Jane is her fifth or sixth. I can't remember. she might be watching right now. She could chime in and say, but it was the same thing. It was like the unpacking is what really had to happen. And then I think the diet too for her, she didn't come in on the diet that you came in on, when I met you. And so there was a lot of that, but it was interesting because I do think it's what you said of like the nutritional and just the absorption, like, how in Chinese medicine, we say the absorption, like whether that's your food, but also like, how are you absorbing and taking in your world? Like your absorption then allows you to actually utilize the meds the way that they should be used and allows it to work that time. Yeah. I mean,
it's natural that when you go through what we've gone through in the group, that you will be angry and you will be sad and you will be just, but that makes your whole body just tighten up and you can't receive anything. And because everything is get up to push away, you're so resistant to everything, you're so angry, you're just like, why do I need to do this diet? Why do I need to see these doctors? There's more questions than there's answers. So you do need to just surrender, and that takes time, and it's a process, and it doesn't happen overnight, and it does take work. And some people think, well, why should it take work? Falling pregnant, having a baby should be something so natural. We're designed to do this. It's not the same for everyone, and sometimes it does take a little bit of extra effort. And I would encourage anyone to do this course. I think you'll get so much more from it, not just to bring your baby home. I think it will change your life in the way you feel about yourself and how, the relationships that you have with your family and your friends. It's a way to, almost spring clean yourself and renew and step into the person you're meant to be. That's
right. I mean, you've heard me say this so many times too, but I see that as like, if you believe into the spirit baby aspect, that the, baby's up there and he's like, no, mom, I need you to be like solid in you. And I need this to come through for you, or you to heal this so that you can be the mom I'm going to need for this world, like that they have this greater understanding. I mean, that's kind of how I see it. And I think what a beautiful, like, partnership that's already begun, that this child is encouraging these changes in you, right? So that you can step into your true power. I'm looking at my phone because I'm pulling up the comments on Facebook, just so I'm not being rude. Because I can't pull them up on my computer for some reason. But just so that you could be, right, the woman, the mother, the wife, the partner, all the things that this little one needs you to be. And to me, I mean, you've heard me say this before too. It's not about the positive pregnancy test, in my opinion, right? It's about you becoming who you're supposed to become, and the baby will come through, And I mean, even in my miscarriage, what you were so supportive to me, and that was like, it's been the greatest lesson, where it's like there's a transformation that happens, or just things that maybe I wasn't seeing that now I get to see. And not to say that every woman has to go through a loss to like figure this shit out, or a fertility challenge. It's not that at all. But if you're in it, you might as well look at it, right?
And make not necessarily have to be grateful or think, everything happens for a reason kind of thing. Let's spin it, let's be a Pollyanna. But from this negative experience, let's turn it into something positive. And that's,
like, what else could we learn from this? So Catherine said, I didn't realize the mental part played such a big role. And Jody and Laura commented. Allison said, me either. It's huge. Steph King. Oh my gosh, Aleksandra, I resonate with your story. My journey has been exactly the same. All tests fine, retaining tissue, etc. So Steph, I want to tell you, you're going to win the scholarship. All right. So comment and comment. Let Beth reach out to you. Okay, Steph, it's all yours. Steph King. Jody, worth every cent. Camilla, absolutely. This is just so amazing and so inspirational. It's so wonderful to see this. It gives me hope and courage to continue with my struggle. Look at that. I told that to Alex before we went on, of like, she said, I forget how you said it, but like, I hope, this helps. And I was like, just
Yeah, I
telling your
do.
story is going to help, because that's all you guys, it's all anyone needs to hear is just the courage and the faith to go on, and to honor the belief, like you deep down have this belief, and you're going to go on to have more than one child. I know that.
I'd
I
like
know,
to
no
think
pressure,
so.
but it's like just that thing of like, you saw that
Yeah.
for yourself, which was why it was so devastating. And that is like,
Yeah.
from a spiritual perspective, the reason it hurts so bad is because it's misaligned with what your true purpose is. And so
Yeah.
just stay the course, and I don't mean it's not Pollyanna in that sense of like, just keep uncovering and unfolding, and trust that you're on the right path.
And also, that there's different parts to baby. I sat down with my husband and we're like, okay, so if this doesn't work, what are the other options? Let's talk about surrogacy. Let's talk about adoption. Let's talk, this. I felt a calling to be a mom. I knew my baby was coming to me, but I also surrendered to, okay, it doesn't have to just be this way. It could be lots of different ways that this child is going to come to me.
There's a lot of ways to become
and that helped me feel that took the pressure off, and that we aligned together as partners about what we were prepared to do and what felt right for us. And going forwards, if I can't do it this way again, I'm so open to doing it a different way, because, I'd love to have more than one. I've just got so much love in my heart. I just want to fill a house full of babies.
That's it. A house full of babies. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at other comments. Laura says, and meet your best friends. So cute. Let's see. Oh, and everybody's congratulating Steph. Sister support. You guys are so cute. I'm getting to that part of trying to enjoy my life. Yeah. Oh, I love it. You guys are so cute. Okay. Everybody's crying. It's so good. Here's Sharon. She was here. My anxious need for control will never have survived being Jane's mom and learning how to let go. Gratitude and enjoying the present moment for what it is so needed. So that's when I was talking about Sharon, who had the other miscarriage. So true. I love you, Sharon. I'm happy you're on watching. And that's it true too. Like, I hope I'm not oversharing, but like Mother's Day, do you remember? And Sharon was a new mom. But like, I remember you saying in the group, Sharon, how do I like have joy for Mother's Day without feeling like I feel bad because I have all these losses too. Like, so I have this grief that still comes up. Like, how do I live in both,
Yep.
And I think some of you watching are like, oh, I can't wait for that day, in a sense, but like, it's real. Like the pain, it doesn't just go away and transform into this thing. And it's like, you're just suddenly healed because now you have this baby. It's still the struggle. It's real. And I think I said to you, Sharon, of like, you can have both, right? You can have the grief and you can have the, and the joy. And like, I'm finally here and here's my baby and she's amazing and she's so cute and she looks just like your husband. But right, she's like, I've seen Sean a couple of times on like our video calls with Sharon, and it's like, oh my god, she looks just like Sean. But you can have both, like, and I think that we're not told that. I think we like, I think a lot of women, right, get on that hamster wheel of like, oh, I'll just get pregnant again so I can just forget that, and like, I just want to move on. I just want to move on, or I'm just gonna do another IVF, just another, like, just keep going. And you got to stop and feel and let yourself process and be with all of it, and it's okay to be with all of it. Yeah.
And you have to be honest with yourself. I think that's what's good about the e-course, and especially, anyone doing that checklist, I encourage you to be honest. Just sit there and don't just go, I'm okay. I only have headaches and I only have this or that. No, sit there and just really take everything that you need to pick, because that will help you. It will help you working with Aimee, but it will help you identify as well with yourself that you need to make the changes, and you're in a safe place, and there's no judgment here. And when you unpack your bag and everything comes out, you have all these ladies that will make sure that you don't sit there and make home in that space, that you get out of it. And I think there's I forget the name of the lady, but Laura posted a video really early on when we all joined about a lady who talked about her tragic loss and everything. And I think it's in our little video bit.
Oh, right.
And she spoke about, you don't get over these losses, you don't get over a tragedy, but you can move forward with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that really spoke to me, that I didn't have to just get over it. You know, I was experiencing these losses and no one knew I was pregnant and there was nothing to show for it. And, you know, when someone's lived and sadly you lose them, we celebrate their life and then people come out and support you. But when you have a loss like this, you know, many people don't know and you're alone in that grief and you're just expected to move on and carry on with your life. And I didn't want to do that. And I think that's why I struggled so much. And then when I watched that video she posted, it's like, you don't need to move on, just move forward. And even if you take baby steps forward, you're still going in the right direction. Mm-hmm. So, you know,
amen to that.
You saved my life. Like it literally, you enabled me to help myself. Yeah. I think that's, you know, you were there, you were cheering me on, you were, you know, I would imagine you in little pom-poms and you just be there, you know. You gave me the confidence to do what I needed to do.
You did, and you really did, like, you know, the way you stepped into your shoes too.
So, in that last sometimes pregnancy. That's all it takes is just this one special person.
Cheerleader, yeah. Yeah. You know, I'm honored to do it. You know that. So, it's so good.
Thank you so much.
On this side. Thank you. You make me cry.
I have so much gratitude for you and for your group and what you've created. And yeah, words. There's not enough words. Just thank you is not enough to express what you've done for me and this group. And you know, I never want to leave, and that's the best thing.
Well, that's it. Someone asked before on Instagram of like, do we have lifetime access to the e-course? And I was like, well, you never get kicked out. Eventually, yeah, and most women don't want to leave. It's fascinating. You know, it still blows my mind what that group has become and the relationships that, you know, came through it. And I like, you know, I was trying to say it before too, but it's like really clear to me. I really feel like the group came together and like really helped you save this pregnancy, you know, and it's just like so amazing to me. It really is. Yeah. Because I feel like from the knowledge and the support in that group, I don't think you would have had the confidence to increase the prednisone or, you know, I mean, and I had another case like that similarly.
I just want to be clear. Yeah. It's, you know, you don't play around with meds.
Ever. Like and I'd be the first one to say, like, call your doctor right away. But like, we knew the time frame. It was a small increase, but I didn't see it as reckless at all. And I think, you know, all the years of clinical experience and then seeing all the other girls in the group and also knowing the dose that the doctors will go up to, like doctors sometimes go up to 40 milligrams, like Dr. Braverman was notorious for 40 milligrams. Yeah. So I knew that. I didn't think there was any harm in it either. And yeah, and just, you know, I think the IVIG, like all the things just really came together and it was, yeah, it was remarkable. And but I just like so many layers of like, I think the support, but then also the knowledge and the confidence and like all the other treatments, like girls, you know, you can go in there and you can just see like, oh, well, so I had the best quality eggs when, you know, if we're talking about egg quality, when they did estrogen priming and my doctor did this and do that. So ask your doctor. Like that's half of office hours sometimes where it's like, I want you to ask your doctor about this or go get that, talk about this, you know, that's like half of it. And then everybody comes in and they share their experiences and you can see like girls like Aleksandra and Laura and Courtney and Kathy and Sharon, they don't go anywhere and meaning they don't graduate or move on. So like they still check in on office hours because it is such a community and family. So they come in and they're just like, hey, this is what I did. And I made 38 weeks and then I changed to this. And it's just this level of confidence. It just shifts because you're like, okay, so other people have done it. These are the doctors that do it, you know, and I think it's invaluable for me. Sometimes I get to, you know, I've learned so much from you guys, you know, from just all the different protocols all over the country, all over the world at this point. We women are all over the world in that group. Yeah. And then the emotional piece and just the, you know, oh, she went through it, I can too. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, even for you, you're unfortunately not the only one that's had 4 losses in that group. You know what I mean? There's like probably a dozen of you, you know, which is pisses
and that's,
off the
you know, and that's the other thing, to know that you're not alone in this, but there's also no comparing, because your journey is so unique to you. It's not worthy of comparing to anyone else. So you come in and feel that you are worthy of this healing, and don't compare yourself to someone else and go, oh, well, I've only had 1 or 2, or I didn't go through this, and, you know, I don't deserve to feel this heartbroken. You feel the way you feel, and you need to feel. You just...
Well, what did you say to me? We wrote the title of this story together, because she was on, and I said, how do you want me to say? Like 3 years of trying to conceive, and should I say how many losses? I wrote, and too many losses. And she said, well, in my opinion, one loss is too many. And I agree. I couldn't agree more. Yeah, so it's not, and then there's also girls who've never gotten pregnant, and that's a loss in and of itself too. So it's just all loss and grief, no matter how you slice it, no matter what the experience was. It's loss and it's grief, and it needs to be healed and transformed and looked at, and everybody, you know, holds that space, right? You know, so, and there are some girls who wish, oh, I wish I could just get pregnant and at least have a miscarriage. And it's like, no, don't, you know, don't say that either.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's just different. The grief, it's just different, and you can't compare it, you know, whether you've never been pregnant before or you have and you've had the losses. It's devastating on both sides. And, you know, just
wanting something and not being able to get it is devastating, and working hard at it too, and then wanting it and not being able to get it, and seeing everybody else get it so easily. Like all of that, there's just layers of it just being just wrong on many layers, and it hurts, you know. So yeah, okay.
But as Rumi says, the wound is where the light enters you.
That's it. I love that.
That's, you know,
I think you posted that in the group, didn't you, at one point?
Yeah,
I remember that. The wound is where the light enters you. I love that. It's so true. And it is. And, you know, I always would say after my dad died, it felt like, you know, there was a solid foundation in my life. Like, you know, he was my rock. He was my best friend. And then if someone asked me to describe how it felt, I think there was a friend who's a therapist. And I said, it feels like someone took a sledgehammer to the rock foundation, and there's just cracks now, you know. And then I said, but over time, flowers have grown out of those cracks, you know. And I think that's the same thing in a sense. It's like, there's cracks, there's traumas, there's breaks, but the light can enter and things can transform through it.
Just be open to the healing, and accept that you're worthy of it. You know, as women, we're there for everyone. We're the nurturers and the lovers and the healers, and we just want to give, and we never take back for ourselves. We never feel that we're worthy of receiving it. Just open yourself up to it, and work with Aimee, come to our group, you know, join the family.
Join the family, yes. Well, thank you, my love. I kept you for a good hour, and thank you to everybody on Facebook watching. Honor each journey, you guys. One loss is too many. There's just people are pouring in the comments. 129 comments you got now at this point, young lady.
I just hope that it helps somebody, that it gives somebody inspiration to just keep going, just keep at it. Don't feel that, you know, you need to trust this one doctor, or you know, just keep going until you. It's
your money, it's your body, it's your time, it's your baby. You do what you need to do. You don't have to stay where it doesn't feel good. Period. Yeah. And I say that a lot too in the group, don't I? Your money, your body, your baby. That's when I'm on fire in the group. Sometimes I'm meditative and calm, and sometimes I get fierce.
Well, that's the great thing, because you're a straight shooter as well, and you're just like, no, I'm going to tell you how it needs to be.
Yeah. All right, my love. I love you. Have a beautiful Sunday with your family.
Thank you.
And
thank you for having me on. I feel so honored, and
I'm so honored
to be able to share.
To be in this with you. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I love you.
Mwah.
Kiss that boy baby for me. Okay.
I will do.
And bye, everybody. So
Bye.
Steph, congratulations. And yeah, if you guys want to know more about the course, I'm sure the links are posted everywhere, but it's aimeeraupp.com/yes. And cart closes on Monday evening, Eastern time, 11:59 p.m. So if you want in, get in. All right. Bye.
Bye.